My name is Kala, Arvind Kala. India has lots of laws, but very little justice. Just this month, for instance, a lady a trial magistrate in Delhi gave a splendid verdict. There was a boy and a girl, and the boy had been accused of rape, and evidence was being presented. When the girl told the magistrate, "Listen, I've had a settlement with this guy. He's going to give me 3.5 lakhs, and that's okay with me, and I'd like to withdraw my complaint." So the magistrate, fine. She said, fine, and we'll complete this case. But this lady magistrate who had given such a splendid judgment, she was overruled by a higher court, which said, how dare you not pursue this rape allegation? And it reminds me of that cynical hospital saying, surgery is successful, the patient is dead. Now, here the girl is fine, the boy is fine, he's paying for whatever damage he did to her, and the matter should have ended. I mean, look at how things happen in the in the Western world, for Christ's sake. India, why don't we learn? Look at Prince Andrew, the younger brother of the King of England, King of England Charles. He paid a settlement of some $3 million or £3 million to a woman in America called Virginia Giuffre, who he had outraged, who he had molested in that famous Jeffrey Epstein case, sex case. So the matter ended. Trump defrauded students of his Trump University in New York, and he paid a fine of $25 million, and the matter ended there and then. So it happens. Harvey Weinstein, who fantastically successful Hollywood producer who molested a series of women, he paid 45 million in fines to those women for having wronged them. So this is exactly what happened. But we learn nothing. We just hound people, etc. The justice system is supposed to get after people, get after people, get after people. Now look at. I mean, I'll switch to another thing to show India's stupidity and how we don't learn from the world at all. We have 40% of the world's child brides are in India. And even today, UNICEF and NFHS, the government survey, they say that 20% of the girls who get married in India are married below the age of consent, which is 18, and 16% of the boys. So there are literally not tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of child marriages. Now, according to our law, rape law, any fellow 17-year-old boy who marries a 15-year-old girl, he has sex with her, he is guilty of rape. Then now precisely that happened just a few months ago. That very intelligent fellow Owaisi pointed it out in Hyderabad MP. He said, a boy and a girl had gotten married. The fellow was around 17, the girl was 15 or whatever, and they'd had two kids. And the state started producing, and they'd had two kids already. And they started, and they arrested the poor fellow 17-year-old father of two children. So Owaisi pointed out, Mr. Modi, are you going to feed the two children? Now the mother and the children are left with the only survivor, the earner of the family. I mean, this is the state of India. We don't learn anything. Child marriages, child marriages, child marriages. They're so rampant. This year, I spent 2.5 months in Goa in winter. I can't bear the cold here. And the cleaning girl in our thing was a girl from Jharkhand, that tribal area of that. And she told me she was educated. I mean, she was in the 11th class or something. And she told me that most girls in her villages and in Jharkhand get married at the age of 13 or 14. Now, girls start menstruating at 13, at 12, 13, etc. They get married, and naturally there's a boy and a girl, and he impregnates her, and there's a baby. So what is the point? Saying things like that, Mr. Modi? This happened during Sonia Manmohan's time. I mean, the marriage age was raised from 16 to 18, age of consent. So even a 17-year-old fellow. So, I mean, the thousands and thousands of these kids being born, are you going to prosecute all of them? I mean, it's crazy. You cannot legislate away things. We have child marriages in India, and the age of consent is 18, raised that time by Manmohan Singh's government. And you know what the age of consent in Germany and Italy is? In one of the, it's only 14. But in these countries, you don't have child marriages for the very simple reason they're very educated and advanced, and people know what it is. So just because Mr. Modi will say, "Oh, we will raise the marriages to it doesn't happen. How you? There's 664,000 villages in India. For Christ's sake, 664,000. Are you going to police every one of them? The villages were 200, 300 scattered all over India. Now, you know what the reality of this is? There's an extortion game which begins. And I mean, imagine it in Jharkhand or a Tamil Nadu village, or any, 14-year-old, 15-year-old girl gets married, boy and girl. And, the local police station knows that the marriage is below the consent or legal. They come there to the family and say, we want money. Otherwise, we are going to arrest you. So these, when you raise these age of consent laws without realizing the society you're living in, you give the police and various other government this thing who are thoroughly venal a way to make money. And this happens across the globe. And here I'll pose a question to Mr. Modi. For Christ's sake, when you make a law, don't consult these IAS fools, these journalists, these professors. And ask your own MLAs. The BJP is phenomenally successful. It's got hundreds and hundreds of MLAs in Bihar and Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, etc. For heaven's sake, before you make a law like this or whatever, reconsider a law like this, ask these guys. They will tell you. They go to the villages for the votes and they know the situation intimately. Not these big bureaucrats or journalists like me or any of these professors and academics, etc. They sit in their offices and they don't know what happens in India. And 664,000 villages. And this is what happens. 40% of the child brides in the world are in India. That is what UNICEF says, and everybody knows this. Child brides. So, and all these things, for Christ's sake, don't have laws which are so bloody ridiculous. Islam knows more. Islamic justice, there's sense to it. One fellow murders another, then he regrets it and he says, "Hey, I'll pay you 1 crore," and the family says, "Okay," they pocket 1 crore. Otherwise, so, and the matter is settled and the fellow is acquitted. Now, in Britain and all these, Britain, for instance, has a 50-year-old fatal accident act in which, lawyers say, "Hey, victim's family, we'll get you good compensation from the guy who killed you with his reckless driving, drunken, and if we don't win, no fees for us." So like that, there's compensation everywhere. And that is how everything doesn't have to go to a law court, and the state shouldn't become a persecutor. No, and that is what happens. The courts keep getting clogged and clogged and clogged. The arrears mount up. I think 35 million or something. That's 3.5 crores, and every year then the number goes up, because the state is involved in these mindless prosecutions. I mean, can you remember how Salman Khan was prosecuted and persecuted? He overran his car, of course, in drunk or something, and 3-4 pavement dwellers died. Now he could have paid compensation to them, and instead he went to courts year after year, decade after decade after decade. And those poor fellows, the families, would hardly have got anything. Now, all these things should be settled by court. So in India, there are lots of laws, but very little justice. It's a bloody shitty country. I don't know why I'm bloody stuck here. Okay, friends, I think this is good stuff. So please forward it to everybody and highlight what a moronic country India is. All right? Okay, see you later, alligator.